Welcome, my name is Tasha and this is StarMade, and today we're going to do some further urban development on my city ship. It's been a while, but yeah, I have some fake ideas about how I'm going to go about this, because okay, we have the central tower in the middle, but not a whole lot of other buildings except for these small biodomes. And my idea was to go from one quarter of the city to the next, and then have each quarter of this circle have its own kind of theme going for it. And because I already have the small biodomes on this end of the quarter circle, I'm thinking of making this area here themed about doing bio stuff. So water treatment, air treatment, some sort of bio research facility perhaps, and sprinkled in between some other buildings that people can live in, and perhaps some shops, etc. So mix it up a bit, but have a central theme per quarter of the city. One thing I wanted to do first as well is add some additional interior to the central tower before I start expanding to the rest of the city, especially this central area, because this is the main traveling hub. You'll probably get teleported here if you teleport to this ship, and then go from here to the rest of the city through these doorways on each side. And I added a ramp on this end that could take you all the way up. Oh, as you can see, it's not done yet, but the basics are here to this area over here. So you can look over the central traveling area. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the space over here, because it is a bit of an awkward shape with all the angles, but perhaps we can add some benches and other nice things to sit here, sort of a promenade feel, I think. And the central elevator I think I already showed. That goes of course to the rest of the floors, like this. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do here to liven it up a bit, because at the moment it's just too plain, too white, too stark. So I want to add some more color and details in here as well. This area, for example, is a bit better because it's all open and we have some grass over here. We can put some plants in, so it's a bit more lively. But yeah, the regular floors, yeah, it's not that easy to come up with a good idea for that yet. But I'll work on it. This is what I came up with for now. Some people might recognize this. I did something similar with this blue light line in my episode with the Portal 2 map. Thought it was a nice sci-fi touch to the interior here. So I added some hanging lights as well, orange in color, so to give it a bit more of a warm feeling. But at the moment the white lights oversaturate everything, so I still have to work on that as well. And I think I changed these walkways as well for a bit. I think they were still the grade before this version, but don't remember exactly. But yeah, this is the idea I'm working on right now. So get a bit of color in there and then play around with the light settings, the light levels a bit. This is already a bit more like it. I mean, I've got a lot more detail going on. Got some benches, some greenery, a lot more detail in the walls. I use the corner lights to have the white light in here, so we at least have some light level. And I added a whole bunch of details in the floor. different paneling, different materials, different grayscales. And then this detail here in the middle. It's opposite the elevator doors. So I like this a bit more. So it's more detailed, different light levels. Yeah, a lot better. So let's work on that here as well. These levels. Perhaps I'll add the benches here in as well. Not sure yet. I need some color in here because it's still too gray only on this level. This and the level below with the catwalks. Yeah, I also added this gray line above the blue light bar. It's to contrast it a bit more. Worked out a bit better. So yeah, this is my initial concept for this. I think I'll leave it like this for now and concentrate on some other things. I've done enough interior for now, getting a bit boring for me to work on. Back to the outside, and as you can see, I started working on some new buildings already. At least this is sort of a building, but more of an idea, because this is a very large, what do you call it, container of some sort. The idea is, like I said in the beginning, that I want to have this quarter of the city themed for bio stuff. So water treatment is one of those. And the idea is that we have some sort of filtering or perhaps storage system here for just plain water. So we have this large tank here, and then I'm planning to build some smaller tanks. You see the footprint over here on this side that we can use as a overflow storage, or, well, not sure exactly what the purpose will be, but yeah, smaller versions to contrast the bigger one. So then we have these tanks here in the middle of the city. It's a building on its own, so we need to build up some sort of maintenance area around it that people can work in to maintain the water plant. And then we can add some sort of building on this end that will house some sort of pump system or other maintenance areas for this water treatment plant. And then we can connect it nicely like this through the biodome to the rest of the city. That's the plan at least, and then continue on this end to the outer parts of the city. And a whole bunch of block placing later, we've got this. So I decided to go for this is a 2-story high lower area around the container for the water. So we can get around the lower part of the container and then add some maintenance stations or something like that. And I also started on the smaller container, blocking it out, getting the shape a bit roughly the way I want it. Then I also started on roughly laying out the larger biodome, and this one. I still think it's a bit too low. I might, these arms here, these straight ones, I think they're still a bit too short, so I'll probably make it a bit higher. And I think that will work out better for all the buildings surrounding it as well. And I started adding the white plating to this larger container, water container, to give it a bit more detail. Because at the moment it's very gray and very plain. There's not a lot going on at the moment. But you can already see a bit, if I move up like this, a bit how the chaotic layout of the city will take shape. At least some part of it. But I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this building that will connect to this large container. Like I said, the idea is to build some sort of housing for pumps and other maintenance areas. But yeah, I think it's a bit too high at the moment. It's a one big white wall here at the moment, and I don't like that. As you can see, I basically completed the 2 smaller containers. Added a pipe like the bigger one on top that goes down all the way down to the floor. The reason is that this pipe will pump water into the top of the container over here. And then you probably have a filter here in the middle that will filter the water, and then clean water is at the bottom of the container. That's the plan at least. Also completed that with the larger one, the 2 ones. So added a bit of detail here with a light that will also connect the pipes to the floor. And then added this darker gray railing on top to give it a bit more detail and to make it look a bit nicer. As you can see, I also added a bit more white armor paneling to it. I think it looks quite nice. Still not detailed enough, but getting there. At least the basics is done. But I am going to have to remove, I think, one of these smaller containers because now that I built this, I think it's a bit too massive for the rest of the things I want to build around it. It's too much, too much volume for this area. So I'm going to remove one of the smaller ones, I think, and that's it. I also changed this area. I made a different type of hallway here, connecting the large container and then the building next to it. So it looks like this. Not a lot yet, but we have some windows in the ceiling that you can look up to the main tower if you walk through the hallway. So like this. You can barely see it, but this is a bigger window, so you can really look up to it. And that will connect to the smaller hallway, finally getting you to the biodome. And then we have a door on this end, on this end as well, to get into the different buildings. And this will be I'm calling it the pump house for now, and I'm not sure how it's going to look like at the moment. Something square, I think, because now that I look at it, I don't have any square buildings yet, only the 8-sided ones. Didn't do anything on the biodome. Still need to work that out and get the glass in. That it's something that's a bit of a tedious job, so I've been putting it off for a bit. But we'll get to that. Much later, and all the gloss is in. At least the outer layer is. Still need to fix up the inner layer of the glass. Like I said, it's a tedious job, but it has to be done. Also added these gray beams to mimic basically the smaller beams I had going for smaller biodomes, these ones. But in this case, because the scale is bigger, I used full blocks. And that gives it a bit of detail as well. I also raised it a bit, so this lower area is now higher. And it works out a bit better in my opinion. The next thing I did was lay out a basic frame for a square building over here, my pump house. I think it's going to be this big, and the idea is to have 2 of them, so you can have one over there and then one over here, and also then a similar hallway connecting this area. But we need something to connect to in the middle between the second pump house and the larger biodome. But I don't think it's enough space to get a big building in, so I either have to design something small, but I think I want a bigger tower on this area, so I think I have to move the biodome itself. Probably a bit that way. That's also why I wanted to have the smaller second container removed. I did that already. So I've got a bit more space to play with. I also did some rough sketching basically to get a layout going for some sort of tower system over here. I want some towers here as well. I'm thinking about some sort of hydroponic system. So it's a tower that's basically built to house plants, to get the food in growing. So lots of lights, lots of different types of plant life, and probably 3 or 2 of them. But I'm not sure how they will look yet. I have to come up with a design first, but that's for later. I just want to have this spot reserved for that, so I did some blocking out for that. As you can see, I moved the large biodome over there because it was, like I said, in a way on this end if I wanted to build a bigger building over here. So it's temporary over there, and then I'll move it in later once this new tower is done. The ideas for this new tower is that I'm going to build a apartment complex type of tower, something similar to this side of the main tower, but smaller. So it's basically going to be this size with 2 apartments per floor. Same type of deal I did with the bigger tower on the sides, but a slightly different layout and some windows on the side. So we've got 2 different types of profiles for the building, one with the double windows like the main tower, but a different one with the side windows in the side facade of the building. So I'm trying to work that out now, because once I've got one floor done, I can copy it over and then copy a whole bunch of floors all the way to the height I want it to be. It should be easy enough. And then the lower 2 floors I will reserve for some sort of shopping area, I think. Some commercial use that we can build in to give some life to the lower areas of the city. So I started working on the layout of the apartments themselves. So it's similar to the ones I have in the main tower. It's got a door over here with a wide hallway that leads to a living area with a kitchen. Then we have a bedroom with this time a window to the outside and a bathroom. So that's what the window areas over here will be. And I decided to also make a cut in the white armor over here to get some more detail in this facade going. I still have to work it out for a bit, but once I've got that figured out, then I can start copying over the apartment floors themselves. But I still need to put in the floors and all the other small details that I don't want to build by hand 20 times once I've got all the floors in, because that's a bit too much for me. I'm happy where this is going now. I've got the apartment block on this floor as good as done. I put the kitchen block in over here. It's the same one I used in the main tower. It's a slightly different position. We've got still plenty of space on this area as well, so we can probably decorate it with tables, things like that. We've got the bedroom with the window. We've got the bathroom. This is a bigger bathroom, by the way, than the apartments in the main block. And we've got a small technical space on this end, and of course the door. So that worked out very well. It's mirrored on this end as well. And now I have to copy it and then copy it on top of that until I reach the height that I want. And there we go. Copied all the floors in. This is about the height I'm going for. And this is a instant city feel, don't you think? If you look like this, then the skyscrapers that you see in your skyline gives it a city feel. They already put some of the lights on and some of the lights on off. So we have some variation in apartments. I think that worked out very well for this small tower. I haven't worked on the roof area yet, and I still need to work on this end. I'm thinking of creating this end only in grey with sparingly used white armor panels, and then have this this central elevator on this end that will go to each floor for the 2 apartments that are there. So this end will house no real interior except for small hallways and the elevator itself. But yeah, that should work out very well, I think. A bit of a contrast between the white area and the gray area. Okay, last part of the building, the backside. I'm still working on it. I decided to go for a similar white armor panel on the back over here, but to go back a bit with the gray. And I still think this is too much gray on the one end, so I still need to add some sort of white paneling to it to break it up. But at least put in the roof line. It's going to be a flat roof for the main part. But I want to create this shape, this type of shape here to get off the what is going to be the elevator tower, basically this area over here. This will connect to hallways like this, small hallways that will get you to the front door of the apartments per floor. That's the plan at least. But there's still some designing I need to do. But I think this episode has gone long enough. I'll leave it like this for now. I'm going to work on it, of course, but the updates for that will be next time. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any suggestions or ideas for buildings, let me know, because I still need a lot of buildings to design, and I want them to be all slightly different from each other to get this chaotic city feel to it. So let me know in the comments or PM me, doesn't really matter, and I'll take your suggestions into consideration. And for now, that's it. Until next time.